Hey all, welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day. Yes, indeed, and today, as voted on by fans, we're going to look at something that isn't really in my wheelhouse too much, but we'll get through it together because it's going to be the top 10 third-party companies. Now, some people said this was too hard. They said, well, there's MP companies and mainline, and then there's legends. You know, there might be a better one for each one. And I admit, for Masterpiece, I think most people would probably agree XTB, fans, toys, fans, hobby. If we were talking legends, a lot of people would probably say New Age, Iron Factory, and Magic Square. Not to say that there's not other options. Mainline, I don't know, Make Toys, MMC, who knows for sure. This was looking at the overall valley that is third-party offerings and asking the question of all of these companies, of all of these scales, which companies are the top 10 best? Which ones give you the best product, the best bang for your buck? Top 10 third-party companies, that's our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share. Of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it'll let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below, also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is, as voted on by fans, the top 10 third-party companies. Didn't matter the scale. And honestly, I'm not sure if there are 10 that would rank for Legends. I'm not sure there are 10 that would rank for MP. So I said, you know what? Forget about the scale. This is just according to you and what you buy and what you have and what you see and what you like. What are the 10 companies that you think are the top? Right? They give you the best bang for your buck. We only have one honorable mention. This one had votes. It did not make the list. APC Toys. Yes, I get it. They have adapted, upscaled and upsized, for example, a number of Transformers Prime products. Some might say KO. I opted to allow KO companies also in here because some of them often do their own like versions of characters. For example, APC Toys done Night Countess, right? Which was their take on Arachnid, because the actual Arachnid mold is so abysmal that you're not going to KO that and upsize it. You're going to do your own. Or their recent Wheeljack, which they made some significant changes on as well. So APC Toys, the one and only honorable mention, did not make the list. So who did? What did? You know what we're going to do? We're going to kick things off with number 10 first. Number 10 takes us to what is probably now a classic company that's been around for a long time, that has done ever so many upgrade kits, as well as their own versions of characters. And it's, Perfect Effect. Now, why am I holding Optimus here? Or not even Optimus, I'm sorry. This is actually God Ginrai or God Jinrai. I should be correct on it. Some would say it's Optimus with Apex armor, but I mean, let's be realistic. It's the Japanese iteration, right? Thanks to Perfect Effect, we now have here a proper, I guess, Power Master for the chest for a little Ginrai. We now have Optimus's proper cab mode, because this one didn't come with a transformable cab. I actually have another version, the all-white version of this, that goes with my Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. Plus, Perfect Effect is what gave me the extra arms, bits, and pieces for my Combiner Wars Devastator to give guys elbows like Scrapper, for example. Very prolific, very classic company that, you know what? The plastic always feels good. The products always feel good. It's very rare that I hear about QC issues from Perfect Effect, whether you're doing an upgrade kit, whether you're doing a character, or whether you're doing both. You can always count on quality. You can always count on great value for your buying dollar. And that's why Perfect Effect takes the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9, we have this company. That's right, it's Planet X. And man, I gotta be honest, I enjoy Planet X. I don't have any of their products, and they do tend to be somewhat expensive. However, I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. Planet X has really built themselves quite a reputation, especially in the vein of the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron series, especially Fall of Cybertron. They've done some other offerings as well, but when you think about kind of War for Cybertron offerings, especially something that's bigger, that's probably more MP scaled, I think Planet X comes to mind for most people. They also did a version of Death Source and a version of Star Saber that I want to say are probably IDW inspired, that most people tend to like. However, I will say this, the one criticism that even voters said is that sometimes they rely too heavily on friction joints instead of things that actually lock in. And if those friction joints loosen over time, it could affect the integrity of the offerings from the company. I can't speak to it. I can only speak to what voters said. But they all said, look, you have tremendous paint, you have tremendous sculpt, you have very interesting and oftentimes intricate transformations. But overall, the package that you get is very impressive with excellent articulation. And the gripes that do exist, while they do exist, are minor in the grand scheme of things. For example, their Grimlock is great, even if his tail is probably a little difficult to maneuver around. Their Star Saber is excellent, but could use some more locking points. Most people universally love their Megatron and love their Shockwave, and of course their Dinobots. Make of that what you will, but voters support this company enough that Planet X was able to take the number 9 slot. 8 is another company that has kind of run the gambit from smallest to biggest. It is DX9. This, of course, is a DX9 Hulky. Actually, this is a KO of DX9 Hulky, but it serves the purpose. Hulky, of course, is a legend scale version of Devastator. Pretty solid. Not bad at all. Even the KO, which is a 1-to-1 reproduction, by the way, is pretty great. It certainly has the look, and it certainly has interesting engineering. However, let's go bigger than this. Because to this day, people still speak about and are renowned by things like DX9's Carry, which is a version of Hot Rod Rodimus Prime, or Salmore, I think his name was, which was a version of Psy-Kill, right up to DX9's Gabriel, which is one of the excellent, excellent Omega Supreme offerings. And here's the nice thing about DX9. Their products have always been affordable. You see the price and you're like, you know what? That's really reasonable for what it is you're getting. How can you argue with a company that gives you reasonable prices for quality products? Yeah, DX9 takes the number 8 slot. 7 is an oldie but a goodie, going all the way back to the very early days of third-party companies with, Fans Project. This is Fans Project's version of Dino King. It was also repainted as a version of Monstructor. Thanks to our buddy Razor Bear, I have this guy along with all of the Pretender shells. The Pretender shells really, really, really had that company kind of suffer. They still do some things for TF cons, especially through, if I'm not mistaken, ages 3 and up. I could be wrong about that. I think the company still exists sort of on the fringe from what it used to be. However, all these years later, and this is a very aged offering now, this is still very solid. It scales with Combiner War stuff. It combines very well. The plastic feels great. There's been no discoloration. It feels robust. It feels solid. This is a fantastic combiner, a fantastic set of products, a fantastic offering that, you know what, has stood the test of time. That's why Fans Project is so fantastic, and that's why Fans Project took the number 7 slot. Number 6 takes us to the third-party legend scale market with Iron Factory. This is half. This is half of their 6-gun. I'm not sure where on Metroplex I've placed his lower body because he actually splits into a few parts. But I can say this. The only Iron Factory products I own is Turrets and Manacle, or Manacle and Turrets. And the plastic feels great, the articulation feels great, the transformation is pretty stupendous for both the little tank and for this guy. Yes, they do split apart, but of course that's deliberate so that they can go placed on Metroplex in various locations. This guy is normally, you know, he lives a good solid portion of his life in this mode, right? The upper body does, and attached to Metroplex. However, since then they've done so many things, so many characters in the Legends class scale. and have been so successful, especially with their IDW stuff, that they've now adapted and moved on to do their own thing by way of their line that's very samurai-esque. How successful has it been? I don't know, but I know that they keep producing it, and I know that people keep buying it. You can't argue with success. An Iron Factory for the Legends class market takes the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever-coveted, ever-popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark, we have a company that I really like for kind of odds and ends, so to speak, and it's Dr. Wu. I love Dr. Wu. I have Mozart for like a movie version of Mohawk, and you know what? That's tiny, kind of Micromaster size, but it's brilliant and beautiful. I have the cassettes because I wanted this guy, or these guys, to go with my Siege, Netflix, Legacy Soundwave. In fact, they've done a lot of cassettes that go with those guys and do them quite well. This feels as good or better than the official cassettes. Very robust plastic, and I even have their version of Megatron in his pistol mode, and this is a 5mm peg that, yes, fits in the hand of ever so many characters. And this is why I'm okay with having a Megatron robot that doesn't turn into the pistol, because I have a usable pistol that's painted really nicely. Whether you're going for little accessory pieces or whether you're going for bots that have not kind of been done, they're great. Then we get into things that other companies have done, like their Optimus Prime and whatnot. Very tiny, almost Micromaster-ish in scale, but I can tell you now, the build quality, the quality of the plastic, absolutely fantastic. This is as good or better than any product I've ever handled. And you know what? When I reviewed it, I was really impressed with it then too. And for the reasons of great quality, great paint, and great materials, how can you argue with Dr. Wu taking the number 5 slot? Coming in at number 4, we have the king of Legends class offerings, quite possibly by way of this company. That's right, it's New Age. New Age is probably the king of doing repaints of Legends class offerings. And I don't know if everything they have is necessarily Legends. I feel like some of it is smaller than that, but I guess it's all meant to be Legends scale. But New Age has been very prolific in that they have endeavored to do a lot of characters and a lot of versions of a lot of characters, and you have to respect it. Here's the thing. Despite all of their repaints that they're famous for doing, you very rarely hear of tolerance issues. You very rarely hear of build issues or misassembly issues. In fact, you usually hear excellent articulation, you usually hear excellent paint, and you usually hear an excellent look as well as an excellent transformation. Look at their Seekers. That's been done 12 times. Fantastic, and even the way that they kind of hide and tuck away the tail fin around the leg is genius. It's brilliant. How often have I said, and I'm not an MP collector, or sorry, Legends collector guy, but how often have I said, man, if these were like the scale of mainline, I would be so in for a lot of these. Look at how popular their Optimus mold has been. Not only reused a bunch of times, but a lot of people, when it comes to a Legends Optimus, still say, man, the New Age one is the way to go. Their Devastator, a lot of people say that's the correct Devastator to have for the Legends market. New Age, a ton of support. They know their market, they know their niche, and you know what? They had enough votes that they were able to take the number 4 slot. Number 3 is somewhat enigmatic because it's this company. Fans Toys. That's right, Fans Toys, we all know, has a cult following. I'm not going to argue it. However, it's very interesting because, and I said it enigmatic because this is the one company on the list that people voted for but gave absolutely really no reason for it. Other than one person who said, look, their cliff jumper, parkour I think was his name, is the thing that got me going with the company. Like, I got that, I loved it, I loved the sculpt, I loved the look, I loved the transformation, even though it was really, really intricate. I don't know if intricate leads to over-engineered or not, I really don't know the mold. But the voter said, look, looks like he jumped off the screen in both robot and vehicle mode. I gotta respect that, I really do. I think if you're an MP collector, there's a strong argument for Fans Toys, for sure. I've only had one experience with the company, being Phoenix when I reviewed it, and I hated it. It was broken out of package at the ankle. I didn't like the feel of it. I didn't like the transformation. It wasn't for me, at all for me. However, if I was to guess why it's so popular, it is largely has to be because of the cleanness of the sculpt. Very often when you see things from Fans Toys and you look at both alt mode and robot mode, sometimes more than one alt mode, it all looks successful, it all looks clean. The articulation seems to generally be there. I can't speak for the build quality, I can't speak for the materials. I do know, after trying to watch many reviews and reviewing one myself, that I do find the transformations to be wildly complicated. And for me, that's not enjoyable. I don't want to be a half hour having to transform something, and I don't want to have to use something to like wedge pieces out. It's not for me. But that's the beauty of the voting. It doesn't have to be for me, right? This is about you guys, and I absolutely understand why MP collectors are drawn to this company to fill a lot of voids. Plus, a lot of the offerings from this company, even I have to admit, look tremendous next to official MP products, right? You know what? I get it. It's the right market, and they know their market, and they know who's looking to buy their product. You gotta respect a company that knows that. Have they maintained that same quality as prices and stuff have gone up? I can't speak to that either. But you know what? Fans still support this company enough that they were easily able to take the number 3 slot. Now, number 2 was a little bit of a surprise to me because I thought it would make the list. I actually thought Fans Toys would be higher because number 2 is this company. That's right, it's Fans Hobby. Now, Fans Hobby, a lot newer than Fans Toys, and people that voted for this said that they enjoyed that this company does things from like Japanese G1. This company also knows their road by doing a lot of Unicron Trilogy stuff. As a matter of fact, I believe Naval Commander, which had some tolerance issues, is slated for a reissue, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like some pre-orders are up for that. Don't quote me on it for sure. But they're definitely a bigger scale than the main line. They're definitely more Masterpiece scaled. However, I have said to a lot of people, if you want Masterpiece G1, for example, Busta and Hydra, go Fans Hobby. If you want Unicron Trilogy stuff, especially something that's more MP scale, man, their Naval Commander, their Jetfire, their Overload, their upcoming Tidal Wave. I mean, they do a lot of stuff that other companies aren't doing. You gotta respect that. They got creative, they went outside the box, and they're after building a huge following because of it. Plus, they're one of the few companies that you always see updates from, and you always see things about the production. I've seen them on various social media actually talking to the fans back and forth, and they take that feedback and they bring it back and apply it. So I think they're a company that's trying to very much be for the people, by the people, so to speak. Certainly listening to their fans, and you gotta respect a company that does that. It's not to say everything's gonna be a hit, but they're certainly gonna have a lot more hits than misses. And fans know that, fans feel that, and that's why Fans Hobby takes the number 2 slot. And here we are now at the very tippy top number 1, and I'm not going to lie to you, I really sincerely believed that Fans Toys was going to take number 1. I did not think that they would be number 3. For a long time, number 2, being Fans Hobby, and number 1 were very neck and neck. Like, I mean, equal numbers. But then, once number 1 started to pull out ahead, it ended up, in the end, with double the votes of number 2. It clearly won, and people gave it the same reason. The company? MMC Mastermind Creations. And the reasoning? The quality is always consistent. People said the same thing. They said, look, whether you're going with something mainline, whether you're going with something more MP inspired, scaled, whether you're going the reformatted series that's very heavily IDW inspired, or whether you're going Ocular Max, whether you're going with some of the exclusives, or whether you're going with kind of their version of general retail, right down to their absolutely fantastic version of Death Source. This is their Solus Prime, who I still adore. Versatile molds, excellent engineering, excellent articulation, great paint, great molding, great value. People said, look, MMC always succeeds across the board. And you know what? I had numerous people who said to me, when was the last time you heard a complaint about an MMC product? When was the last time you heard someone say, oh, this MMC product is no good? When was the last time you heard someone say, oh, my paint was scraping, or I had this breakage on an MMC product? You don't. And because of that consistent quality, because of that consistent record of success, MMC by far took the #1 slot. And there you go, man. 10 down to 1 once again. Others that had votes, because we had some great ones on there. Unique Toys had votes, although you could probably lump them in with DX9. I've heard that they're the same company. I just couldn't confirm it. Jiang Zing, which did that giant MP scaled Transmetal 2 Megatron, that was really impressive. Action Toys, because they've done the GotBot stuff. Black Mamba. KFC, I mean, Keith has been around forever. TFC, of course, TFC done Hades, for example, right? The Lyle Kaiser. Transart for their Beast War stuff. Toy World, specifically for Constructor and their Megatron Hegemon. Mech Fans Toys, especially their mini-bots, like their gears. A lot of people love their gears. Plus, their version that's like a legend scale version of, what's his name? Omega Supreme, very impressive. Metagay, DNA Design, Crazy Devi, which was an upgrade kit as well. Wei Jiang, I mean, my Ultima Guard is Wei Jiang, and it was their own original design, as was their Megatron, an own original design. And both tremendous products. X-Transbots had votes. Bei Wei, which recently showed their Legends version of an 07 movie Optimus, but they've done other things besides that. Make Toys or Make Toys, G Creations, especially their Dinobots. 3-0 doesn't transform, but man, 3-0 is amazing. Robosin, enough said there. 52 Toys, I thought that was an interesting one. Magic Square, Toy Hacks. You know what shocked me didn't have any votes? None at all? Generation Toy. A lot of people like their Devastator, but Generation Toy didn't have any votes. Go figure. Those and more, though, did have votes. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, please hit the subscribe button. Stick around, man. Have some fun with us here on the channel. Thank you. And don't forget, especially don't forget, somehow, someway, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.